If I can get Veer Sangvi to come with me to the Insta trackpad and let's take our viewers through the numbers. And we've got some figures coming in now for Delhi, so we'll focus on that in a big way with our panelists because this is the one election, the one fight which everyone is watching most keenly. So let's look at the figures for Delhi. What we're seeing in Delhi is the BJP so far picking up a large number of the initial leads that are coming out because the BJP is currently leading on 10 seats, the Aam Aadmi Party is leading on 5, and it seems to be neck and neck between the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party for number 2. Okay, and also we're seeing figures for the AAP factor. I'm told that in New Delhi it is Arvind Kejriwal who's trailing to Sheila Dikshit in the initial trends that are coming out. What do you make of the figures that are out on the screen right now? There you go. Well, the Congress at 5, down 13, the BJP at 10, that's a lead of 5, the Aam Aadmi Party at 5.
Well, I think clearly the Aam Aadmi Party has hurt the Congress much more than the Congress realized. It looks like the Congress is going to have to fight for second place, and all those people who said the Aam Aadmi, G.V. Narasimha Rao was here, who said the Aam Aadmi Party will peak at 6 or 7 are going to be wrong. The Aam Aadmi Party is going to do very well.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the regions of Delhi from which these numbers are emerging at this time. And if we look at the regions of Delhi from where these figures are coming out, it would seem as if this is a battle where the BJP is leading and it is the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress that are fighting for 2 and 3. And if the Congress were to end up at number 3, that would be a deadly blow for the morale of the Congress also.
And a signal for how the Congress is perceived in the capital of India, by the residents of the capital of India. People who voted for the Congress 3 elections in a row, who voted for it twice in the general election, have now turned their backs so completely on the Congress. What could be a greater repudiation?
You know, Delhi is considered a microcosm of India. Would this poll result reflect a larger anger building up against the Congress party?
I think all the poll results are going to reflect an anger against the misgovernance of the Manmohan Singh government. The fact that in the latter part of his term, he's turned into Narasimha Rao, a do-nothing prime minister who sits behind while corruption scandals go all around him. I think there's also anger that Rahul has failed to be an alternative, failed to tell us what he stands for. It's a very bleak picture for the Congress.
Okay, let's take a look after this for the figures for Madhya Pradesh, because in Madhya Pradesh we're seeing initial trends which seem to be favoring the Bharatiya Janata Party. And if we speak for the campaign that was run by Jyotiraditya Scindia, he actually is, from the Congress's perspective, one of the big gainers. The fact that he ran a campaign that inspired people, people came out to listen to the young man. He seems to be, in this possible defeat, one of the victors for the Congress.
I think it's a win-win situation for him. As you know, he's been asking to go back to Madhya Pradesh for 2 years, 3 years, asking people to revive the party. They sent him back too late. They didn't expect him to win this election. They said, prepare the ground for the parliamentary election. He's doing that. Whether that will work, I don't know. But certainly he's emerged as the greatest leader of the Congress in Madhya Pradesh.
We're getting some reactions from various political parties. Prakash Javadekar and Jaiprakash Nadda are speaking at this time. Just for a moment, let's listen to what they're saying on the initial trends that we are getting this morning.
कि ये चारों राज्यों में हम पूरी सफलता हासिल करेंगे, अप्रत्याशित सफलता मिलेगी। लोग कांग्रेस पर गुस्सा है, बीजेपी को पसंद करते हैं और यही रिजल्ट आएगा, यही उम्मीद है। We are confident that we will win all the 4 states today, which are the counting of which is on today, and because people are angry against Congress and people are voting for BJP positively, and therefore we are...
जो के नतीजे आ रहे हैं, जो ट्रेंड मैं देख रहा हूं और जो मैं घूम करके आया हूं, मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि चारों राज्यों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी को स्पष्ट बहुमत मिलेगा और भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार बनाएगी।
छत्तीसगढ़ में क्या कहा जा रहा है कि टाइट है मामला और हो सकता है कि बीजेपी लूज करेगी।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी छत्तीसगढ़ में सरकार बनाने जा रही है रमन सिंह जी के नेतृत्व में, और वहां के लोगों का रुझान बड़ा स्पष्ट रहा है और वो अभी नतीजों में आ जाएगा।
Okay, so the BJP very confident of victory. Let's also take a look at the initial trends that we are getting for Rajasthan, because in Rajasthan, again, it seems that the opinion polls and the exit polls are holding, and Ashok Gehlot's government, Veer Sangvi, seems to be on its way out.
I know many people in the Congress who campaigned in Rajasthan, and they came back and they said it's a utter and complete wipeout. We have no chance in this election. Vasundhara's charisma is intact. She's getting huge crowds. Gehlot went into hospital at the beginning of the campaign. He never quite hit his stride. His big calculation was the Jats will vote for me. Shishram Ola, a very old man, was made a minister on the grounds the Jats would vote for them. Shishram Ola also ended up in hospital. It was a campaign that never got off the ground. They're going to be slaughtered.
And this is also a larger reflection in the referendum on Ashok Gehlot's welfare schemes. He's literally opened up the exchequer, rolled out the doles. If Ashok Gehlot gets rejected, would that at any level raise question marks on what the Congress is trying to do at the centre?
It will, especially because Ashok Gehlot became chief minister and then went to sleep. And then just before the elections were due, he woke up and started throwing goodies at people. If he'd woken up 2 years earlier, 3 years earlier, it had seemed like a consistent and sustained effort, maybe the welfare schemes would have worked. But you can't do this just before an election and think people are idiots and will vote for you.
Because that's been working in the past. It's happened and it's helped in the past, but it's not
But
really
to be
helping.
fair, things like the people like Surjit criticize about the Congress, the loan write-off, Narega, etc. But things the Congress did at the beginning out of conviction. It may well be, as Surjit said, misplaced and idiotic conviction, but it was done because they believed. What Ashok did, he did right at the end only to win elections.
You know, one of the things that are important in Delhi is that the BSP, and they don't really reflect on those figures, are actually leading on 5 seats. So
That's very interesting, because nobody talked about that,
and
right?
people try to dismiss the BSP as a
Remember when
factor
we
of
did the exit
past,
poll, when
that
we
the
did the-
Valmiki votes were all being picked up by the Aam Aadmi Party. If the BSP manages to hold on to those leads, that would show the pollsters still have something to think about. Let's just go back and get comments from our guest, Tavleen Singh, to start with. On the initial leads that we're seeing so far, the opinion polls and the exit polls seem to be holding for this time.
That's quite true, and I was just asking Veer whether they've improved their tactics of, doing them, because, this time they seem to be more accurate than they've ever been, right? No?
No,
And the trends were clearer.
Yeah.
The first round is postal ballots. The first round is postal ballots. Don't read too much into it. Number 2, BSP, I don't think can be 5 seats.
The Optimist of the Year award has to go to the young Mr. Poonawala.
But I don't know. I mean, which polls are we talking of? Which opinion polls are we talking about?
Yeah, that's true,
The
they
range-
varied. Yeah.
The range was so wide that from
Yeah.
a very keen contested to a complete wipeout in kinds and kinds. Let me just tell you one more thing about the exit polls and the opinion polls. I've had a very, very careful look at it. I've done a lot of it. Most of it is humbug. These sample sizes are so small, and given the heterogeneous polity of this country, it is an impossibility to extrapolate.
So how do you explain the accuracy this
Why-
time?
why the right
I want to disagree with you.
I'll explain this.
And why are you spending so much money on
Sir,
polls yourself?
yeah.
When we do it for the reasons of finding out the issues. We don't do it for the purpose of saying this is the seat we are winning or this is not the seat we are winning.
But issues are okay.
Because it gives you a sense of what people are thinking about. It just gives you a sense. I have done, believe me, if I was to calculate the number of samples we've done, they would surpass anybody. And with all those huge samples also, you tend to go wrong because the choices of people are determined by a lot of factors, which unless you've gone to each polling booth, do you imagine, we have 11,763 polling booths in Delhi. Each polling booth has a unique feature about itself. The demographic profile of each polling booth is so complex that to extrapolate is an impossibility.
Okay,
You know what
I want to come in on this.
Surjit
One
will
second.
say is change your pollster.
Yeah. No, I would say, look, this is often made by losers, winners, etc.
He's a winner today.
About the damning of the opinion polls. You can't basically, when you get your industrial production index, when you get your GDP stuff, everything is done on samples.
I have done,
So therefore, one
enough
second.
samples. Let me just, one minute. Delhi, please realize, I have done samples as much as 2 lakh voters.
And it was still wrong.
2 lakh, and yet we went wrong.
That is
in
not
terms
the-
of, I tell you in terms of what?
You know, there are pictures of the Aam Aadmi Party supporters celebrating at their headquarters. Let's just take a look at some of those
Celebrating the
images.
lead.
There you
They've
go.
opened they believe they've opened their account.
They've opened their account.
No, look at those pictures. 12 leads for the Aam Aadmi Party. This is incredible because you've got the BJP at 15 and
Your
you've got
poll
the
was
Aam
wrong on
Aadmi
this.
Party, Shiv Vishwanathan at 12. If these leads were to hold, it's massive news
That's
for
history in the
Kejriwal.
making then.
So they've taken Congress votes, in fact.
Absolutely.
See, we used to say.
Veer and I spoke about this.
There is another angle to this. Look, we said Aam Aadmi Party is a vote katwa party. Why did we say that? There was this Congress vote.
Not vote katwa, this is game changer.
Allow me to explain this. Allow me to explain.
हमारा तो काट दिया ना काट ही दिया और क्या रह गया
अभी तक क्या था कि जो
इनका नहीं कटा ना इसलिए
the anger against Congress was to get reflected in a vote against the Congress. Now that consolidated vote would have come to BJP. But so we had actually thought we're going to win as many as 55 to 60 seats because the anger was so strong. With the Aam Aadmi Party there, this anti-establishment vote was to get divided. Well, they've done.
No, but it's not getting divided.
Would you have done better in Delhi with your traditional constituency if Vijay had been your chief minister candidate?
The ifs and buts.
Straight answer.
No, it cannot have a straight answer because there's
no straight answer.
Because there's no basis. There's no basis to really calculate or evaluate whether this would have been better or that.
He's a big supporter of Vijay Goyal.
Which is why I'm asking you.
He's not going to concede that Harshvardhan's made a difference. So that's
Which is why he's waffling.
That's a question he'll dodge.
नहीं वो तो मुस्लिम दलित वोट मिले इसलिए 12 seats में
Okay, we're seeing. I just want our analysts to allow these images to soak in because we're seeing history in the making. 15 seats for the BJP, 14 for the Aam Aadmi Party. If these trends hold, this is the most spectacular political debut Shiv Vishwanathan India has seen in the last several decades, possibly.
I like spectacular debuts, but I got a funny feeling numbers are going to change history. Let's wait a bit. Because I like tweets. They give you a sense of leads. The tweets can change the mind, and I got a feeling leads are going to do something. It's not the logic of numbers that interests me. Let's take something very interesting here. The Aam Aadmi Party actually contributed to BJP victory. Absolutely. The BJP doesn't have the magnanimity to honor. Let me just analyze it for you. One, it cut the Congress to pieces. And two, it persuaded the BJP that Harshvardhan is a better candidate. Because you realize something. Harshvardhan as image was better than Vijay Goyal as substance. It's the image that won.
Sudhanshu won't like that. You want to accept that?
Allow me to articulate my point.
Misleads analysis.
No.
We know he's your friend, but he had a very corrupt image in Delhi.
We've never had an allegation against Vijay. If you say, look,
I'm just telling you,
allegation.
Aam Aadmi's perception.
I'm not even talking about proofs. I'm not saying were there proofs against him. Forget it. What are the allegations? I've never had.
Vijay Goyal is not the story this morning. It doesn't matter. Arvind Kejriwal spoke to journalists a short while ago. I want to get a reaction as we see this jubilation already taking place outside the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters. This is Arvind Kejriwal.
बीजेपी वाले कर रहे हैं मैंने सुना कौन कर रहा है बीजेपी सर बीजेपी से कौन कर रहा है उनके लोग आते हैं नहीं बता रहे आप नहीं लोग आते हैं उनको और ऑफर करते हैं उनको कैंडिडेट्स को लेकिन कौन है बोले थे भी नौकरी पैसा कर रहे हैं पैसा ऑफर कर रहे हैं पोजीशन ऑफर कर रहे हैं इसमें घबराने की बात नहीं है वो सब करेंगे वो उनकी राजनीति है